Hello Malaysians, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much. In today's video, I've been asked by many sources to actually comment on the issue of the so-called gang rape of a student or a pupil in a secondary school by some seniors, so Form 5 students. Um, and that the issue here is about why Fadlina, as the Minister of Education, is allowing the 4 students that are being held for the accused gang rape is allowed to take the SPM. So to many people, it seems that this is an unfair situation, as well as perhaps they view that Fadlina is not being very sensitive towards the issue. I mean, somebody does a crime like rape, and then you're still allowed to so-called walk around free, as well as even take exams, and I don't know whether they're going to school or not. Now, I am in no position to comment on what the Minister of Education has in mind in terms of her own reasons, as well as the official stand of the ministry. What I have is only my experience. And my experience as a professor, I have been on the disciplinary board committee where we rule against students, or we rule concerning students, let's say cheating in exams, even harassing other students, whether we would give them some sort of mild punishment like a certain fine, or we would even fail them in exam. We could also suspend them from classes for 1 semester, and we can even expel them. So this has been my experience many years being a disciplinary committee. I am also being appointed disciplinary committee to academics as well as civil servants in the University Kebangsaan Malaysia, as well as before that at the Ministry of Higher Education, appointed by Dr. Mazli Malik within the committee to see the problems with academic themselves. So I'm using my experience as an explanation as to the decision of the Minister of Education in allowing the students to take exam. Now let me explain what I have gone through. Now in a disciplinary committee, what happens is that there must be some kind of investigation done on certain things, let's say cheating, or let's say someone harassing or actually having physical abuse to his girlfriend, for instance, of which I have been privy to. Now, there is an investigating officer who would gather the facts, and then the matter later on would be brought to the disciplinary committee, to our attention, my attention, and a few others, and then we would rule with regard to whether the investigation was proper, and we would also interview the perpetrators or the victims and things like that. This is the power of the committee, and at the end of the day we would rule whether there is justification for punishment, and the punishment is also something that we would suggest or decide on actually. So in cases of cheating, for instance, lecturers who are new to the academic world as well as to the university world are taught, when you invigilate an examination, okay, let's say you notice someone maybe cheating, maybe watching the handphone or having some sort of notes and things like that. It is not proper for you to actually stop the person while they are actually doing the work. You need to record it. Now you have phones, and you can record it quietly in the back, but you must wait until that person has finished the exam. You see, now some people might be asking, why are you letting that person finish? I mean, it's very clear that this person is doing the cheating. So actually, that is not so. Under the disciplinary committee and also the aspect of invigilation, you must allow the student to complete the exam, so that when the evidence is presented to the disciplinary committee, the disciplinary committee will rule. And in some cases, the disciplinary committee ruled and said that the evidence is insufficient to say that the student is actually cheating. So if the student was stopped in the middle of him or her taking the exam, what happens in this case if they were proven not guilty by the committee? So you have to retake the exam. That there is no way. You have to sit for additional or supplementary exam. There's only 1%, and so that is the reason why that person need to complete the exam until later on, when the ruling comes, let's say yes, she or he was cheating, and then the result would be considered not to be taken into account, meaning the class is failed. So that is the reason why such things happen. So here is a situation, even in cases of let's say accusing of harassing a girlfriend and things like that, if it was during the exam week and the committee has not said, then students should be allowed, because there is no ruling with regards to the situation. So that is where, with regard to this so-called gang rape, I use the word so-called because we don't know what happened. We only read the news, and the news used the word rape. Now, rape, as far as I understand it, there are two. One is when there is no consent on the part of usually the female, and then it is forced upon them. That is definitely rape. The other is whether the female consent to it or do not, even the female consent to the act of sexual relation. If that person is underage, not yet 17 or 18, then that's called statutory rape, meaning it is surmised in philosophy that she is not old enough to make that decision. So in many cases where there is consensual sex, and that is what happened in Kelantan, I think, where there was some discussion whether to also charge the female, and there are many people who are disagreeing with it. But here in the Muslim community, it's very common when two consenting teenagers does something, then the parent of the female would charge rape on the male who's also a teenager, and even though they had consented, but that is unacceptable in the sense of from the family perspective, but it is also in one sense unfair to the male, because that they were consenting. But under the rule, once the report that says my daughter has been raped by this person because she is having sexual relation underage, under the Western law, which is what we are using, then it is called statutory rape, and the male would definitely have the severe consequence, while the female has just a social consequence. That's why there was a discussion about it in relation to this. So in this case of the so-called gang rape, the report of the media uses the term rape simply because I think, I don't know, I've never seen the video, that if there is the sexual relation had occurred, then obviously the term that had used is correct because it's a statutory rape. But the fact of the matter, whether it was consenting and not consenting, some people have a different opinion. But for me, this is quite an important evidence to be shown. I mean, the video would show whether the female was not consenting or consenting. So, whichever the case may be, there must be an investigation, then there must be a ruling. So, until and unless there is a ruling that says, yes, the male, they are in the wrong, and therefore they will be punished. And if they have not taken any exams or anything like that, then maybe they will not be allowed unless they appeal, and then the process goes on. So that is where, in cases where there is some very serious examination and rulings are yet to be made, that is why I think even if I were in that position, I would allow the so-called accused to be taking the examination. Now, after the ruling is over, then whether the result is to be taken into consideration or not, that one is another issue altogether. But I don't see any reason why the result has anything to do with the case. But that is a different ruling that needs to be decided and debated by the ministry, whether to accept or not. But at the moment, my response to the decision to allow the perpetrators, the accused, sorry, not perpetrators, the accused, because they are just accused, have not been proven that they are guilty, is being allowed to take the examination, whether in school or whether in a lockup, or whether anywhere. That is another context of situation altogether. So I do not think that the netizens should be too hard on the minister. I'm not speaking on her behalf. I'm just speaking as a person who would, with the experience in mind, make the same decision, not because of insensitivity towards a female species. I mean, the minister herself is a woman, while I am a man. But that is the situation, as far as I understand it, that this is the case, because it involves an important examination. With that, thank you very much.